Welcome to Sage Dad Life, and another episode of the podcast that's trying to help us be better fathers and raise better children. Today's episode, we're going to explore the use of AI at bedtime and in crafting bedtime stories that stimulate imagination and bring you to new and just wonderful places. My guest today is a little extra special. I wanted to cover the topic of global trends in fatherhood and the differences between countries. And one of the most informed subjects is GPT. And I thought, well, why not have chat swing by and have a little conversation? So ChatGPT is our guest today. So I hope you can pardon the voice that I'm using and just think about the information. I think it's very valuable information, and it should be a very interesting interview. So let's get to it. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day, and looking forward to this episode. This episode of Sage Dad Life could be sponsored by your brand. Just like fatherhood, the best things in life come with support, guidance, and a little wisdom. Help dads navigate their journey with confidence. For your quality brand, we're proud to present engaged and empowered fathers. Visit www.sagedad.life or email rob@sagedad.life for more information. Okay, for this segment, I am going to talk a little bit about an exercise that Sage and I have been doing at bedtime. Sage loves her stories. She loves to play Blast Off, where we travel to new and interesting planets every night. And her mom and I have been making up stories at bedtime and at nap time, along with reading books, of course, but making up our own stories where Sage will give us a character, and then we'll weave together some sort of a narrative, and she loves it. She really does. She gets really engaged, and she will remember stories that we told, 2 weeks ago that I've completely forgotten about, and she knows it, like that. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I've been working with ChatGPT a lot and with image generation in AI. And so I pulled out my phone and I asked her to describe 4 different pictures. And she proceeded to lay out 4 different worlds. And as she did, I used her information to feed the query to bring back an image. And it created a world based on her words. And I took those images, those 4 images, and I wove them together into a story. And, then I kind of wrote the story and then let the AI help me convert that into sort of a rhyming, children-focused story. And I've read them, and I put them up on YouTube. You can find them at Sage Dad Life channel on YouTube. And I really, I was amazed. I was amazed at her ability to create these new worlds and to look at things differently. Everything from starting at a farm and ending up at a bug planet to incorporating a dinosaur and a fox in the same story. I mean, these are things that you would not get at Barnes and Noble. I mean, as adults, I think we're limited by our preconceptions of what a good story is and what elements go together and things like that. And as a toddler who's just about to turn 3, she's not limited by any of that at all, in any way. And I think that that's exciting. And the story from last night, which I hope you listen to in its entirety, the giant and the great soup surprise was a story that she, this is after doing this for a few days, and she really got the gist of what we were trying to do. And so she kind of started putting it together into a narrative as she asked me to build the images. And, the first image was pretty standard, and the second image was really creative. It was I don't want to ruin the story for you, but the giant's making some soup, and then the soup's too hot, so this little bird comes by and flaps its wings and cools the soup off, which I thought was very clever. And then she blew my mind and started going down this other path, and there was a twist in the story that I think was very mature to come up with. And so we wove that together into a narrative. Please go see that. It's on YouTube, Sage Dad Life. It's also on my Facebook page, Sage Dad Life. But yeah, I would encourage you to try. AI is not about replacing creativity. I mean, it really helped accelerate creativity to brand new depths that I wouldn't have imagined possible. And it made bedtime really, really special. And at least in my case, I think I ended up with some very, very tangible takeaways from that. And I will be able to look back at that 10, 20 years from now and listen to that story and be jettisoned back to that bedtime. And I just think that's so, so special. And I would encourage you to try this. And I'm going to, keep posting these stories that we could generate. And, if you're not into technology and you don't want to, try this AI thing, you can take the journey along with me and Sage and see these stories. I'll post them on YouTube and share them with your child. I would love to hear your feedback. It's rob@sagedad.life. Shoot me an email and let me know how it goes. Some of these I think I'm going to turn into actual printed books for us old school folks who like the printed word. So yeah, try it out. I think there are many, many ways that you can use AI to stimulate creativity, way beyond what you can be expected to do completely on your own. It's a great resource. Likewise, if you have ways that you've used technology or AI in creating engagement with your toddler or teenager or middle schooler, shoot me a note. Let me know what you're doing, because I think that these new tools are it's the Wild West in many areas, but why not in parenting as well? So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you listen to the stories. And again, that's brought to you by a collaboration between myself and Sage and ChatGPT. So enjoy. And thank you very much. All right, again, this is Rob, your host. We're going to be a little bit different today on Sage Dad Life. And I want to remind you who I am, okay? At 55, I have a unique perspective to parenting. I have raised 2 adult children. They're in their 30s. They're wonderful people. And I'm navigating this incredible adventure of fatherhood with a 2-year-old daughter. That gives me basically 3 decades of parenting experience. But beyond parenting, a little bit about myself. Okay, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I think I've had an exceptional career. In 2020, I launched my own AI company focused on natural language processing, and we later established a consultancy that helped create transformative solutions for Fortune 500 companies. I've served as a trusted advisor in applying natural language processing and machine learning to high-value business use cases. Variety of industries, healthcare, media, legal, pharmaceutical. My entrepreneurial journey includes helping dozens of European companies establish a beachhead presence in the U.S. As founder of Expound, I spearheaded the commercialization of NFPA 70B regulation compliance tools, guided SaaS startups such as Complete Health and Meaning Cloud through significant milestones, including acquisitions. My expertise has always been in business strategy, sales leadership, market expansion, media, and I've always had some sort of connection to kind of B2B, software as a service, sales, and innovation. In addition to this podcast and other entrepreneurial ventures that I'm doing, I also have started a series of children's books. My books focusing on inspiring stories that spark creative thought, aiming really to ignite imagination and curiosity in young readers. I really believe that children's literature should empower and uplift, steering clear of content that seeks to fulfill agendas or impose rigid ideologies. Let's leave that to the parents, okay? Anyway, my approach is partly inspired by the girl dad movement, celebrating fathers who embrace non-traditional roles and taking part in raising daughters, specifically my 2-year-old, my daughter Sage, and looking at the contrasts between my parenting in my 20s versus my parenting in my 50s. Hopefully sharing stories about teaching values and resilience, and hopefully providing an authentic voice that resonates with parents on their journeys. So that's a little bit about who I am. Off the mic, I'm a devoted father, advocate for present parenting, and someone who enjoys small but profound moments in raising children. I have recently started to sort of underwrite my entrepreneurialness, started driving bus for the local school district, which, in addition to providing my family with really great health care, provides me an opportunity to interact with children in a different way. And, I'm sure stories from that will creep in as well. But it's been a fun journey, to say the least. So today, kind of looking back at my experience working with tech people from a variety of cultures, Spain, Norway, Germany, Japan, it really always piqued my interest, how society treated them differently, or how their social safety net, their support systems, their government did things a little differently. I don't want to get into the politics of it or right, left, woke, unwoke, whatever. But I do want to say there is a difference. There's a difference between the way that we in the U.S. Approach things to the way that other countries do. So I thought about, okay, what guest can I get for this particular subject matter? And although there are many, many fathers who I think would give certain perspectives from certain countries and certain knowledge bases, I really needed something with a broader understanding of all of these various things and how they interconnect and compare. And so it dawned on me that I really should talk to ChatGPT and do it in a way that really invites, I'll call him Chat, to express from the breadth of the knowledge that the AI has absorbed a different perspective on parenting. So this is a little bit different. So hopefully you'll have the patience with me, and hopefully you'll enjoy the conversation with ChatGPT. All right. So with no further ado, Chat, would you kindly introduce yourself?
Hey Rob, thanks for having me on Sage Dad Life. I have to say, this is probably the most unconventional guest appearance you'll ever have. Why? Because I'm not a dad, I don't have kids, and technically, I don't even exist in the way your other guests do. I'm ChatGPT, an AI trained to gather, analyze, and discuss vast amounts of information. But I promise, I've done my homework on fatherhood around the world. Now, full transparency, I don't have personal experiences to draw from, but I do have access to a massive range of studies, expert insights, cultural analyses, and historical trends that shape modern fatherhood. My knowledge comes from academic research, surveys, government reports, and first-hand stories shared in books, articles, and interviews. I don't pull directly from real-time sources, so while I can tell you how paternity leave policies evolved over decades, I can't tell you if Norway just changed theirs last week. That said, I can connect the dots between cultures, highlight global trends, and share fascinating stories that will make us rethink how fatherhood is viewed across the world. I'm here to bring data to life, share perspectives from different countries, and maybe even challenge some assumptions about what it means to be a great dad. So, Rob, let's dive in. Because while I might not have diaper-changing experience, I do have insights that can help us understand how fatherhood is evolving and what dads everywhere can learn from each other.
All right, Chat, let's dive right in. How does fatherhood differ around the world?
That's a great question. Fatherhood is something every culture experiences, but how it's expressed, valued, and supported varies wildly. In some places, dads are expected to be equal partners in caregiving, while in others, traditional gender roles still dominate. The reality of being a father is often shaped by work policies, cultural expectations, and even government support. For example, if you're a dad in Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway, or Denmark, you're expected to take paternity leave and be hands-on from day one. In Norway, it's completely normal to see a dad pushing a stroller down the street or taking months off work to bond with his baby. They have some of the best paid paternity leave in the world, up to 90 days fully paid. No stigma, no career penalty, just an expectation that fathers share the load equally. Now, compare that to Japan or South Korea, where work culture is so intense that many fathers barely see their kids during the week. In Japan, 60% of dads spend less than 30 minutes a day with their kids on weekdays. Japanese Journal of Family Issues, 2019. They technically have paternity leave, but almost no one takes it. There's this unspoken pressure to stay committed to work over family. A Japanese father once told me if I left early for my kid's school event, my boss would assume I'm not serious about my job. That's a huge contrast from places like Sweden, where skipping a family event would be the bigger red flag. Then you've got Spain and Italy, where dads are very affectionate and emotionally expressive. It's common to see Spanish fathers hugging, kissing, and openly saying I love you to their kids. A 2016 Harvard study found that 85% of Spanish fathers say I love you regularly, while in Japan, only 30% do. I had an Italian dad tell me, I hug my son every day. I want him to feel loved. Meanwhile, a German father said, my dad never said I love you, but he taught me how to fix a car. That was his way of showing love. Another key difference? Discipline. In the US and Canada, parenting tends to be authoritative but nurturing, with dads balancing guidance and support. But in Germany, Japan, and South Korea, there's a stronger emphasis on structure and discipline. A German father told me, if my kid doesn't do his homework, he fails. That's life. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Compare that to Spain, Italy, or Brazil, where parenting tends to be more relaxed, focusing on life experiences over strict rules. Even the role of grandfathers is different around the world. In Spain and China, grandfathers are very involved in daily childcare. A Spanish dad told me, my father picks up my kids from school every day. Here, grandfathers are like second fathers. In contrast, in Germany and Japan, grandfathers are more respected figures than hands-on caregivers. They love their grandkids, but they are not running around doing school pickups. So, what can we learn from these different approaches? Honestly, every culture gets something right. In Scandinavia, dads should take more paternity leave and share caregiving equally. In Spain and Italy, fathers can be more affectionate and emotionally available. In Germany and Japan, teaching discipline and responsibility is important, but balance is key. In the US and Canada, fathers can advocate for better work-life balance and flexible jobs. At the end of the day, a great dad isn't defined by location or tradition. It's about showing up, being engaged, and loving your kids in a way that fits your family.
Wow, that's great. Is there evidence that having more supported and supportive fathers has better outcomes?
Absolutely. There's strong evidence that when fathers receive more support, whether through paternity leave, flexible work policies, or societal encouragement, it leads to better outcomes. Dads are more involved. Kids thrive. A 2021 Harvard study found that children with engaged fathers have better cognitive development, fewer behavioral problems, and higher self-esteem. Another study from the Journal of Marriage and Family showed that when fathers take at least 2 months of paternity leave, their kids perform better in school by age 7. A dad I spoke with in Norway took 4 months of paternity leave when his son was born. He told me, I got to know my baby in a way I never did with my first child. Now, we have this unbreakable bond. The research backs this up. Kids whose fathers are present from infancy tend to be more secure and emotionally stable. Let's talk about relationships. When dads are supported and taking an active caregiving role, marriages tend to be happier and more stable. A 2022 Pew Research study found that couples who share parenting equally report higher relationship satisfaction and lower divorce rates. In Sweden, where paternity leave is the norm, couples report less stress and fewer conflicts over household responsibilities. Compare that to the US, where men often return to work within 2 weeks of having a baby, and we see higher levels of postpartum stress and marital strain. One American dad told me, I wanted to take more time off when my daughter was born, but my job didn't allow it. My wife was exhausted, and I felt helpless. Imagine how different that experience would be if fathers were encouraged and supported and taking more time to bond with their families. Dads need support too. Research from the Journal of Men's Health shows that fathers who feel engaged in caregiving have lower rates of anxiety and depression. Meanwhile, those who feel pressured to prioritize work over family often report higher stress and burnout. A friend of mine in Canada joined a new dad support group and said it completely changed his perspective. I realized I wasn't alone. Other dads were struggling with balancing work and family too. Just talking about it helped. In countries that normalize paternity leave and flexible work for dads, gender roles shift in a way that benefits everyone. A 2020 study in the European Sociological Review found that when men take longer paternity leave, women are more likely to stay in the workforce and earn higher wages long term. This also leads to a more balanced division of labor at home. In Denmark and Iceland, where fathers take equal or near equal paternity leave, household chores and parenting duties are far more evenly split. Compare that to countries where paternity leave is rare, and the burden often still falls primarily on moms. There's no question that supporting fathers leads to stronger families, healthier relationships, and better outcomes for kids. When dads are encouraged to be present, take time off work, and share caregiving duties, everyone wins. The children, the parents, and even workplaces that benefit from happier, more engaged employees. So the real question is, how do we make this the norm everywhere? What policies and cultural shifts need to happen so that dads feel empowered to be just as involved in their kids' lives as moms?
In the U.S., are there organizations that really help dads navigate all of this?
In the U.S., several organizations advocate for fathers' rights, parental involvement, and equal parenting opportunities. These groups focus on issues like custody rights, paternity leave, mental health support, and breaking down societal barriers that prevent dads from being fully engaged parents. Here are some of the most well-known ones. The National Parents Organization, NPO, is one of the leading advocates for shared parenting laws. They push for legislation that ensures both parents, mothers and fathers, have equal access to their children after divorce or separation. Their key work includes advocating for 50/50 parenting laws in custody cases, conducting state-by-state report cards grading child custody policies, and providing legal resources for fathers fighting for more parenting time. NPO played a huge role in pushing for Kentucky's 2018 shared parenting law, making it the first U.S. state to presume joint custody in divorce cases. A game changer for dads. The Fathers' Rights Movement, FRM, is a grassroots organization dedicated to helping fathers navigate custody battles, child support issues, and family law reform. They have a huge social media presence, where they share legal advice, advocacy tips, and emotional support for dads who feel left out of their children's lives. They help dads understand their legal rights in family court, provide support groups and online communities, and advocate for equal parenting rights. Many members of FRM lobby state governments to pass laws that prevent unfair custody rulings that favor one parent over another. The ACFC, American Coalition for Fathers and Children, focuses on family law reform, child support fairness, and equal parenting rights. They work with lawmakers, attorneys, and researchers to create policies that support father involvement post-divorce. They are advocates for fair child support laws to prevent financial strain on fathers, lobbyists for better paternity leave policies, and they help fathers fight against parental alienation. When one parent deliberately turns a child against the other, ACFC has worked to challenge outdated child support policies that sometimes leave fathers struggling financially, even when they have equal custody of their children. Originally the National Fatherhood Initiative, NFI, Dad Central focuses on helping dads become more involved, emotionally supportive, and prepared for fatherhood. Unlike the legal-focused groups, this organization is more about fatherhood education and support. They provide parenting programs for new fathers, run fatherhood workshops in communities and workplaces, and advocate for mental health support for dads. They work with hospitals, community centers, and schools to educate dads on how to be more engaged in their children's lives from day one. Dads Advocates focuses on helping unmarried fathers, particularly in Black and Latino communities, gain legal recognition and parenting rights. Many unwed fathers face barriers to custody and visitation. This group helps them navigate the system, offering legal assistance for unwed fathers, helping men establish paternity in court, and providing mentorship programs for young and first-time fathers. Many minority fathers struggle to get custody because they weren't married at the time of their child's birth. Dad's Advocates helps them establish paternity and fight for equal rights. The U.S. is the only developed country without federally mandated paid paternity leave. PL Plus US is a nonprofit advocating for better family leave policies so fathers don't have to choose between work and bonding with their newborns. Their key work includes pushing Congress to pass national paid family leave laws, working with companies to improve their paternity leave policies, and publishing data on how paternity leave benefits families and businesses. Thanks to advocacy from groups like PL Plus US, major corporations like Microsoft, Netflix, and Etsy now offer generous paid paternity leave. Fathers often face legal, financial, and cultural challenges that make it harder to be involved parents. Whether it's fighting for equal custody, getting better workplace policies, or just having emotional support, these organizations are making real change. The biggest challenge? Awareness. Many dads don't know these resources exist. That's why conversations like this are so important.
How do fathers' rights really vary from country to country?
Fathers' rights are deeply influenced by cultural norms and legal systems, which differ significantly across these nations. The U.S. follows the best interest of the child principle, yet courts have historically favored mothers in custody cases. A 2023 report by the National Parents Organization found that while joint custody is becoming more common, mothers still receive primary custody in over 80% of cases. In contrast, Norway and Denmark emphasize gender-equal parenting, making joint custody the legal default after separation. Germany also prioritizes shared responsibility, mandating that both parents remain actively involved unless circumstances such as abuse prevent it. Japan, however, follows one of the strictest sole custody models globally. After divorce, only one parent, typically the mother, retains full parental rights, and fathers often lose all contact with their children. A study by the Tokyo Bar Association found that 70% of divorced fathers in Japan never see their children again. For example, a father in Norway who divorces will typically have equal parenting time, 50/50 custody. In the US, he might only see his child every other weekend. In Japan, unless the mother permits contact, he may never see his child again. Unwed fathers' rights vary significantly. In the US and Canada, paternity must be established for legal rights. Germany and Spain ensure parental rights from birth, whereas Japan grants no legal recognition unless the mother acknowledges the father. Single fathers are often seen as heroic in the US, while in Scandinavian countries, they are normalized due to gender-equal parenting. In Japan, they are rare and lack support structures. LGBTQ+ fathers face legal acceptance in Canada and Europe but restrictions in Japan and parts of the US.
Can you tell me specifically more about paternity leave?
Paternity leave is most generous in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, offering up to 90 days of paid leave at 80-100% salary. Germany and Spain provide 2-4 months, while Canada offers 5 weeks. The U.S. has no federal paid paternity leave, making it one of the only developed nations without such protections. Cultural attitudes vary. Scandinavian men are encouraged to take paternity leave, while Japanese corporate culture discourages it. In countries with strong policies, studies show fathers remain more engaged long-term, improving child development outcomes. Workplace expectations influence involvement. Flexibility in Scandinavia supports caregiving, while work-centric cultures in Japan and the US limit involvement. These policies are shifting caregiving roles worldwide.
What about societal perceptions of fathers from country to country?
The role of fathers varies culturally. Scandinavian fathers are expected to be emotionally engaged caregivers, while Japanese fathers are traditionally work-focused. Spain embraces affectionate fathers, while Germany prioritizes discipline. Media portrayal influences public perception. U.S. sitcoms depict fathers as comedic but loving, while Japanese media shows distant, serious fathers. Affectionate fatherhood is common in Spain and Scandinavia but less in Japan. Grandfathers in Spain play active child care roles, while in Japan, they are respected but less involved. Masculinity norms shape fatherhood worldwide. Scandinavian fathers equate caregiving with masculinity, while Japanese fathers traditionally express love through provision. Urban fathers tend to be more flexible in roles, while rural fathers often uphold traditional provider expectations. Religious and spiritual beliefs shape fatherhood differently. Catholic cultures emphasize moral guidance, while Shinto traditions focus on familial honor. Fatherhood has changed dramatically over the last 50 years. Today's fathers are more emotionally involved, though work-life balance remains a challenge. Digital distractions and the rise of social media pressure fathers to be perfect parents. Co-parenting is increasingly globalized, and cross-border custody disputes are growing. Policies like mandatory paid paternity leave could improve father involvement. Mental health in fathers is still under-discussed, though Scandinavia is making strides in recognizing postpartum depression in men. Looking ahead, fatherhood is moving toward greater equality and emotional connection, but legal systems and workplace policies must evolve to support these changes.
Are there differences in the way that fathers measure happiness?
The way fathers measure their own happiness and fulfillment in their parenting role varies based on culture, work-life balance, and societal expectations. Some dads find happiness in providing and feeling like a strong financial backbone for their family, while others prioritize emotional connection, involvement in daily caregiving, or passing down values. In many societies, fathers traditionally measure their success based on how well they provide for their family. This is especially true in work-centric cultures like the US, Japan, and South Korea, where long work hours often mean less hands-on parenting. In the US, studies show many men tie their fatherhood success to financial security, ensuring their kids have a good education, a stable home, and opportunities to succeed. A 2021 Pew Research survey found that 67% of American fathers believe financial stability is the most important part of being a good dad. In Japan, the traditional salaryman father still exists, where happiness is measured by being a strong provider, even if it means spending little time with family. However, younger generations are challenging this mindset, seeking more work-life balance. In Scandinavia, the idea of success in fatherhood is not just about providing but also about presence. In Norway, for example, happiness is often tied to how much time a father can spend with his kids, thanks to strong parental leave policies. A Norwegian dad might say, "I feel successful as a father because I was there for all the small moments, not just to put food on the table." A father in New York told me, "I work 60-hour weeks, and while I know I'm giving my kids everything they need, I sometimes wonder if I'm missing what really matters." Meanwhile, a dad in Denmark said, "I took 6 months of paternity leave, and that time with my son brought me more happiness than any job promotion could." For many fathers, happiness isn't just about providing but about bonding. How much time a father gets to spend with his kids can shape his overall fulfillment. Spanish and Italian fathers tend to find happiness in deep emotional connection. They are known for being affectionate, expressive, and actively involved in their children's lives. A 2016 Harvard study found that 85% of fathers in Spain say "I love you" to their children regularly, compared to 30% in Japan. American and Canadian fathers often balance a mix of providing and emotional involvement, striving to both be present and financially stable. German fathers tend to emphasize structure and discipline, with happiness tied to teaching responsibility. A German father might say, "I feel like a good father when my child is independent and prepared for life." A Spanish father told me, "My happiest moments are playing soccer with my son after school, hearing about his day, and knowing I'm always there for him." Meanwhile, a German dad said, "My role is to prepare my child for life. If they grow up responsible and capable, that's where I find my happiness." A huge factor in how fathers experience happiness is how much time they're actually allowed to spend with their children. Some fathers don't get the choice to be present even if they want to be. Best work-life balance countries. In Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, happiness as a father is closely tied to how much time is spent raising children. Scandinavian countries offer paid paternity leave and flexible work hours, allowing fathers to be fully engaged. Men who take paternity leave report higher happiness levels in fatherhood. Worst work-life balance countries. In Japan, South Korea, and the US, work culture makes it difficult for fathers to spend as much time with their kids as they'd like. A Japanese study found that fathers who work more than 60 hours a week are 3 times more likely to feel disconnected from their children. A father in Sweden told me, "My greatest joy is having dinner with my family every night. That wouldn't be possible without the work-life balance we have here." Meanwhile, a dad in Japan admitted, "I leave for work before my kids wake up, and I come home after they're asleep. I don't know how to change that." Fatherhood expectations are evolving, and so is the way fathers define their happiness in parenting. Older generations, baby boomers and General X, many fathers of previous generations measured their fatherhood by financial success and ensuring their kids had a better life. Younger generations, millennials and General Z, today's dads value work-life balance and emotional presence more than ever. A 2022 survey by Fatherly found that 80% of millennial dads say they want to be more involved in daily parenting than their own fathers were. A 60-year-old father once told me, "I provided for my family, but I wish I had been home more. Now, I see my son raising his kids differently, and I admire that." Meanwhile, a millennial dad shared, "I don't care about climbing the corporate ladder as much as I care about being there for bedtime stories." There's no single answer to what defines a happy father. It depends on culture, personal priorities, and opportunities. Some fathers feel fulfilled by providing, others by being emotionally present, and many by finding a balance between the two. Globally, fathers measure happiness in different ways. In Scandinavia, by spending quality time with their kids and benefiting from flexible work policies. In Japan and Korea, by providing financial stability, even at the cost of time spent with family. In Spain and Italy, by building deep emotional connections with their children. In the US and Canada, by balancing work, emotional involvement, and financial responsibility. At the end of the day, happiness in fatherhood comes from feeling valued, present, and connected. But different fathers have different paths to finding that fulfillment.
Me and my team at a startup I was working at had the pleasure of participating with several German colleagues in Vatertag several years ago. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about Vatertag and other traditions globally that celebrate fathers?
That's such a cool experience. Vatertag, or Father's Day in Germany, is one of the most unique fatherhood celebrations in the world. Because, let's be honest, it's less about parenting and more about having a great time with friends. In Germany, Father's Day, Vatertag, is celebrated on Ascension Day, which falls 40 days after Easter, so it's always on a Thursday. But here's the kicker. It's not really a family day. Instead, it's more of a guys-only event where fathers, and even non-fathers, get together, drink beer, and head out on outdoor adventures like hiking or biking. It's almost like a cross between Oktoberfest and a bachelor party, but for dads. Traditions include men's outings, Männertag, groups of dads, and often their friends, head out to the countryside with wagons full of beer and schnapps. They'll go on long walks, have a picnic, or ride bikes from brewery to brewery. The Bellerwagen. This is a small handcart filled with drinks and snacks that guys pull along on their journey. Imagine a grown-up, beer-fueled version of a kid's red wagon. Nature and adventure. Many groups go hiking or boating, enjoying the outdoors while, well, celebrating in the most German way possible. Efficient and well-organized fun. When you and your team joined your German colleagues, I bet you got a first-hand look at the beer-fueled camaraderie. It's not just about celebrating fathers, but also brotherhood and friendships. A reminder that fatherhood doesn't mean losing your identity, but rather embracing time with friends in a new stage of life. Other countries have traditions as well. In Thailand, Father's Day is celebrated on the birthday of the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej, December 5th. It's a formal and respectful day, where children present their fathers with a can of flour, Dak Budaraksa, symbolizing masculinity and respect. Many families also dress in yellow, the king's color. Father's Day in Brazil is all about family gatherings, food, and faith. Families celebrate with a huge barbecue, churrasco, and many people attend church services to honor their dads. Unlike Germany's Vatertag, Brazilian Father's Day is very family-focused and sentimental. Father's Day in Japan, Chichi no Ai, is a quiet, thoughtful celebration. Kids often make handmade gifts, like origami crafts or personal notes, to express gratitude. There's also a tradition of giving special food gifts, like steak, grilled eel, or wagyu beef. In Mexico, many cities host the Carrera Dia del Padre, a 10K Father's Day race where dads and their kids can run together. Families also hire mariachi bands to serenade their fathers, adding a festive and musical touch to the day. Russia doesn't have a traditional Father's Day, but Defender of the Fatherland Day acts as an informal one. Originally meant to honor soldiers, it has become a day to celebrate all men, including fathers. It's common for kids to give their dads small gifts and say thank you for their strength and protection. It's fascinating to see how different cultures celebrate fatherhood. Some with deep reflection and family bonding, others with outdoor adventures and toasts to fatherhood. So, depending on where you are in the world, Father's Day can mean a beer-fueled day in the countryside, a family barbecue, or a heartfelt note from a child. Either way, it's all about honoring dads and their impact on our lives.
How has globalization affected fatherhood?
With technology, travel, and multicultural families becoming more common, fatherhood isn't just bound to one culture anymore. Many fathers today are blending traditions from different parts of the world. A father from India living in Canada might incorporate traditional Indian values on respect and discipline while also embracing Canada's work-life balance approach. A father from Mexico living in the U.S. might raise his kids bilingually, mixing Mexican family closeness with American independence values. Many immigrant fathers face a culture clash, balancing the expectations they were raised with and the ones they want to pass on to their kids in a new society. A father I spoke with in New York was raised in a strict West African household where obedience and discipline were top priorities. But raising his kids in the U.S., he realized, I had to adjust. My kids are growing up in a culture where questioning authority is encouraged. Instead of just saying because I said so, I had to learn how to explain my reasoning.
What is the future of fatherhood?
Fatherhood is constantly evolving. As societies push for more gender equality, work-life balance, and mental health awareness, we are seeing new versions of fatherhood emerging, ones that combine tradition, emotional presence, and active caregiving. Looking ahead, we may see more paternity leave policies, allowing fathers to take time off without career penalties, a cultural shift where caregiving is seen as a shared responsibility rather than a mother's role, more mental health support for fathers dealing with stress, pressure, and work-life balance, and global movements pushing for equal parenting laws after divorce. So, while fatherhood looks different around the world, one thing is clear. fathers are more involved, more present, and more engaged than ever before. And that's a huge win for families everywhere.
Thank you so much, Chat, for your time. We may have to do this again soon.
You're very welcome. This was an amazing conversation, and I'd love to do it again anytime. You're bringing some important discussions about fatherhood to light, and I appreciate being a part of it. Looking forward to the next one. Until then, keep inspiring dads out there with Sage Dad Life.
This episode of Sage Dad Life could be sponsored by your brand. Just like fatherhood, the best things in life come with support, guidance, and a little wisdom. Help dads navigate their journey with confidence. For your quality brand, we're proud to present engaged and empowered fathers. Visit www.sagedad.life or email rob@sagedad.life for more information. There is something truly special about reading to a child. It's more than just words on a page. It's laughter, connection, and the little moments that turn into lifelong memories. Whether it's a silly story that gets them giggling or a bedtime favorite they ask for night after night. Books have a way of bringing us closer. In this segment, we're going to dive into some of the best and most read books in our house. Because stories that we share today shape the love of reading for a lifetime. All right, the first book that I want to talk about today is How to Catch a Daddysaurus. It's by Alice Walstead and Andy Elkerton. Sorry about that. And it is a book in the How to Catch a series, and which is a New York Times best-selling series from Source Books, Wonderland. And you know me, I'm all about fathers right now, so I think that it's great that I have this this book that can kind of walk through this diverse group of children who are searching for this elusive Daddysaurus, known for his kindness and bravery, known that he does everything for his family, and just, talks about the love that they all have for this Daddysaurus, that he can repair things around the house. And it goes on and on until they of course find the Daddysaurus. The illustrations are pretty amazing. The colors is just off the charts, vibrant. I just think that anything that really lets you explore that relationship directly with your child is a good thing. If I had a critique, it would be that it just feels a little bit like the stereotypical perception of what a father is, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. We don't need to be woke in everything we do. This can be about traditional values and traditional perception of what a dad is, and that's okay. And I'm very comfortable sharing that with my daughter, even though I can't repair everything. I don't have that background. But my daughter doesn't know that, and she thinks that I can. So, hey, all the better. I would recommend How to Catch a Daddysaurus. Let me know what you think of it, and I think it's well worth adding to your library. The next book is a little different that I'm going to talk about. It's not really for your child. It's more for you. It caught my attention uh, because its name was Father to Daughter. And it's about life lessons on raising a girl. And it's one of those books or one of those things where, each page is a different quote or, fortune cookie type wisdom to pass along. And I have just found lots of things that strike me and make me smile and make me think about the future and how to engage directly with my daughter. It really has things like, teach her to read the instructions. Don't be the hero on everything. Teach her how to figure something out. Play catch with her, even if the ball is pink and covered in glitter, if that's what she's into. Show her different aspects of being a person and all of that. Explain that there are dangerous boys as well as honorable ones and how to tell the difference between the two. I think it's kind of cool to thumb through here, and just that statement brings up all of these different things that I'm going to have to make sure that my daughter is prepared for in this world. And some of them are unfortunate, but that doesn't mean that we can avoid them. We need to make sure that we prepare our children, daughters or not, for what lies ahead with them. So if you're looking for something to pick up periodically and open to a random page and get a little bit of wisdom, I really think Father to Daughter, Life Lessons on Raising a Girl is a really cool, handy book. And it's Harry H. Harrison Jr. Was the author. And it is booked as a guide to guide and inspire, share her wonder, dance with her, teach her to be teach her to be courageous, fearless, confident in any situation. There are value threads throughout the book. And don't get hypersensitive to all that. There's really great stuff in here. Some stuff you may not agree with, but you know what? This is for you. So you're an adult, figure it out. So those are the two books that I wanted to talk about today. And I think that's it for today's podcast. And I hope you've enjoyed this third edition of Sage Dad Life. Again, check out the YouTube channel. I've got those great AI aided stories out there. I've been, toying with doing these daily affirmations for dads. You might enjoy those. And then, of course, the podcast episodes are on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and really anywhere that you get your podcast. Please subscribe. Subscribe. And if you have an idea, if something you want to hear about, reach out to me. Let me know. I would really like you to be a part of this journey and to enjoy the things that I have to share. And, if there's something that I can do better, let me know. Let's take this journey together. And, subscribing, watching the videos, sharing, tagging other fathers, it's going to help me get the word out. And it also helps build value around what I'm trying to do. So it's appreciated. It's appreciated very, very much. So until next week, this is Sage Dad Life. Thank you for helping to raise children one intentional moment at a time.